So that's how the Stoics understands natural law. Now let us proceed to what Aristotle understands about natural law. So we know that Aristotle is a highly acknowledged and the greatest of all ancient philosophers. No? Saint Thomas Aquinas really learned from him. No? Saint Thomas Aquinas called him, Aristotle, as the philosopher. So what was the idea of Aristotle about the natural law? According to him, we can learn by nature what we ought to do and not do because nature intends that certain things be done or not done. So to be good or to be moral is to be reasonable, because that is actually part of our capacity as a thinking being. So to be reasonable is to act in accordance with our nature, which is our rationality. So to be good is to be rational in our actions and conduct. So it is clear for Aristotle that to follow nature is to follow reason. So this is the reason why he argued that what is just by nature is not always the same as what is just by law. Okay? Now let us proceed to what Saint Thomas Aquinas believed. He believed that natural law participates in the divine eternal law. So what does this mean? The natural law is a reflection of divine eternal law. So when we follow the natural law, we actually follow the divine eternal law. So if we will not follow the natural law, we will not also follow the divine eternal law. So this is what it means when we speak of participation of the divine law. So the natural law is a participation of the divine eternal law. So we already understand what's a divine eternal law, that is identical to the mind of God. So if you do not follow the natural law, it is tantamount to saying that you do not respect the law of God. Okay, so let us proceed to C.S. Lewis. He is a writer, and he explained the natural law in the statement, according to the religious views, what is behind the universe is more like a mind than anything else. It is conscious and has purposes and prefers one thing together. So beyond the natural world, there is a mind, meaning there is somehow a governing law that dictates what should be done and what should not be done. Okay, so that's it. To go further, here are the examples of natural law in economics. Actually, the philosophers of natural law often do not explicitly concern themselves with economic matters. No? Likewise, economists systematically refrain from making explicit moral value judgment. Yet, the fact that economics and natural law are intertwined has been borne out consistently in the history of economics, because natural law as an ethical theory can be understood to be an extension of scientific and rational inquiry into how the world works. The laws of economics can be understood as natural laws of how economies should operate. That's why there are examples of natural law in economics. Now, number one, the economists of the medieval period emphasized that there should be a just price of economic goods. No? Kana bang ang price niya dapat kung unsa ang iyahang material o unsa ang iyahang quality o unsa ang dili masubra ang iyahang presyo, dili mahal, sakto lang sa unsa gyud ang goods. That is what it means by just price of economic goods. Now, John Locke, following the natural law, said that there should be a natural right to claim and own resources. So, kung wala na siya tag-iya, so nakay gitawag na to natural right. For example, kanang mga isda sa dagat nga naa diha sa dagat, no? So, wala may tagiya na gawas kung gihi culture na siya, no, na nakakulong. Pero kanang mga isda nga naa diha sa dagat, o bisan kinsa na ay natural right to claim or own. Okay, number 3, according to Adam Smith, there should be a system of natural liberty being the matrix of true wealth. So asa man ay ma-apply ni sila, no? Influential kay na ang iyahang mga theory, like for example kanang the law of self-interest, no? People work for their own good, no? The law of competition, because competition forces people to make a better product. So, and then the law of supply and demand, no? So if there is enough goods would be produced at the lowest possible price to meet demand in a market economy. So there is actually a basis of the right basis of our economy in order to be not to go against our human nature. So in conclusion, the natural law theory can be held and applied to human conduct by both of the following. The atheist uses reason to discover the laws governing natural events and applies them to thinking about human action. While for the theist believe that there is God that created all of nature and the laws as well, and obedience to these laws and the supplement to these laws provided by God is the morally correct thing to do. Okay, so for us Christians, we actually believe on this natural law because of the explanations given by Saint Thomas Aquinas, that this natural law is a participation of the eternal law. So for us who believe in God, it's easy for us to discern the divine law. And for those who do not believe or those who are not Christians, they can still recognize the natural law by the use of reason. Okay? But for the second part of this discussion on week 10, we know that there are also strength and weakness about this, no? So a major problem for this theory is to determine what exactly the laws are in the natural law and how they apply to human circumstances. So on week 10 we will talk about more of this in the coming discussions. That's all for my discussion. Thank you for